Hello there you guys, welcome to one of my videos. Solskjaers centre back dilemma. Solskjaer has drawn up a 6-man centre back shortlist. The first 4 are Jules Koundé, Konate, Raphael Varane and Pau Torres. The other 2 have not yet come out. Now we need someone to go alongside Harry Maguire in our back line. Now Jules Koundé, I'd certainly take him at Manchester United. His performances for Sevilla have been very, very good. He's been at Sevilla almost 2 years. He's got a contract with them until 2024. Sevilla paid £22 million for him from Bordeaux in the summer of 2019. Sevilla are demanding £68 million for Jules Koundé. Fabrizio Romano was talking about it not so long ago. He said Sevilla's £68 million asking price is complicating a deal, but he's one of the most appreciated players on United's radar. A few weeks ago, he said that we'd been handed a boost in our bid to sign Koundé because it said that Sevilla had reduced their asking price to £50 million for Jules Koundé. His release clause is £68 million. It said earlier on this season we was not willing to meet his release clause. Raphael Varane. Now the Spanish newspaper ABC said the other week that Real Madrid revealed their asking price for Raphael Varane. It's £51 million. That's very cheap for Raphael Varane. And Eduardo Inda, who's a Spanish transfer expert, he said that Raphael Varane could be on his way to Manchester United in the summer, because Raphael Varane's contract talks with Real Madrid have stalled. There was narratives coming out earlier on this season saying that Real Madrid were prepared to sell Raphael Varane on one condition: he must inform Real Madrid on his decision to leave. Back in 2018, Woodward was prepared to sanction a £100 million move. Varane is a world-class centre-half. He hasn't played in the Premier League yet, but I can assure if he comes to the Premier League, he'll exceed expectations and he'll replicate what he's done at Real Madrid. He's been at Real Madrid now like 10 years. He's made over 300 appearances and he's won 18 major honours. Real Madrid paid just €10 million for him from Lens back in 2011. He's under contract with Real Madrid until 2022, so his contract expires next year. Pau Torres. Now, reports from Spain said quite a few weeks ago that he wants to make a move to Manchester United. And the Real Madrid president, Florentino Perez, was angry with Man United for entering the race because Real Madrid were emerged as the favourites to get Pau Torres. Earlier on this season, it says we believe we can get Pau Torres for less than his £52 million release clause. He's been at Villarreal a long time. He's got a contract with them until 2024. Still young, got a lot of development in him. And Konate, he currently plays for RB Leipzig. I've identified the areas where Manchester United need to strengthen up. I think we need a striker, we need a right winger, we need a defensive midfielder, and we also need a centre-half. I'm expecting Man United to make around 3 or 4 signings in the summer transfer window. I reckon Solskjaer needs at least £200 million if he's to get the players he wants to recommend in. Solskjaer did warn earlier on this season that we may not do business as usual in the summer transfer window due to the pandemic. The recent reports said that we will spend big in the summer transfer window, but Solskjaer wants to keep transfer dealings quiet. There's been a lot of narratives coming out regarding Ousmane Dembele recently. The Spanish outlet Sport said the other week that we have increased our interest in Ousmane Dembele and we've been monitoring his displays this season. We have been in negotiations with his representatives and we are preparing a bid. Mundo Deportivo have also said that Liverpool are interested. Now, last year, we wanted to get Ousmane Dembele on loan with the option to buy, but our wishes didn't materialise. Now, recent narratives have said that we've been dealt a big blow in the chase for Ousmane Dembele because it looks very likely he's going to be staying at Barcelona. Ronald Koeman wants him to stay at Barcelona, and Barcelona are willing to offer him a new 3-year contract. Fabrizio Romano did say not so long ago that Ousmane Dembele is set to hold talks with Barcelona over a new contract. Ousmane Dembele's got like 15 months left on his current contract. He has been at Barcelona now quite a few years. Barcelona got him in a deal worth £135 million from Dortmund in 2017. Barcelona paid around £97 million up front. My element of concern is that Ousmane Dembele is injury prone. He sustained quite a few injuries at Barcelona. He was good when he was at Dortmund and he was also good when he was at Rennes. I think he's valued in the £50-odd million range. Jadon Sancho, him to Manchester United in the summer transfer window is possible. Fabrizio Romano recently explained Jadon Sancho's hold-up to Manchester United. In general, Fabrizio Romano's spoken a lot about the Sancho saga and Bill's Christian Falk has spoken about it before. Man United will have to submit an exceptional offer to sign Jadon Sancho, warns Borussia Dortmund's CEO. But yeah, Borussia Dortmund have admitted that they will sell Sancho this summer for the right price. Earlier on this season, it says we was preparing to put a £50 million bid in because it said we believe we can get him for the cut price fee. Bild said earlier on this season that Dortmund reduced their asking price to £88 million. Sancho has visited our Carrington training ground quite a few times, so that's fueled speculation. Last summer, he was our number one priority target. The main explanation we didn't get him last summer is because Dortmund's valuation was £108 million and we was not willing to meet that valuation. But Sancho to Man United was extremely close last summer because it said the personal terms had been agreed, a contract had been agreed and the agent fees had been agreed. But Dortmund said to us last summer that we had until the 10th of August to sign the player. We missed out on that deadline, so Sancho remained at Dortmund. We was willing to offer him that number 7 shirt. He said, Borussia Dortmund CEO said earlier on this season that Sancho, Haaland and more Dortmund stars could be sold in the summer to avoid financial crisis. Analysing the vast majority of Sancho's career, he's been very consistent with Dortmund. This is his 4th season with them. He's got a contract with Dortmund till 2023. Dortmund paid just £8 million for him from Man City back in 2017. Dortmund got him for next to nothing. He enjoyed a couple of years at Man City, but he didn't get assured any first-team opportunities at City, and that's the main explanation he left. Before he was at City, he was at Watford. He was there from the age of 7 to the age of 14. And obviously, you know the news on Erling Haaland. The Athletic came out yesterday and said that Man United are one of the clubs that can afford Haaland. Dortmund are demanding 150 million. The Athletic recently said that we cooled our interest in Erling Haaland because we are prioritising 2 deals. It says we want a right winger and a centre-half instead of Haaland, but Haaland has been our number 1 transfer priority. Borussia Dortmund's CEO said that Dortmund are planning next season with Haaland. Erling Haaland's agent, Mino Raiola, and his father have been to England for talks with several Premier League clubs. They've also held talks with Barcelona and Real Madrid. Said not so long ago that we declined to meet Erling Haaland's agent, Mino Raiola, over discussing a possible deal for Haaland. But there's so many clubs that are in for him. I'd love Manchester United to sign him. You know, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer knows the player well. Solskjaer was the one that gave Erling Haaland his debut at just the age of 16 at Molde. Back in December 2019, Ole and Woodward went to Norway to meet up with Erling Haaland to negotiate a possible move to Man United. Ole did say in his press conference prior to the Brighton game that he played down talks of Man United chasing Haaland. And he said Haaland will make his own mind up. He said a few weeks ago that Solskjaer kept calling Haaland to persuade him to join Manchester United. He said earlier on this season he was following Erling Haaland's progress. Erling Haaland's father has spoken about his son's career and his prospects, and he's spoken about his son's transfer links to Man United before. Haaland does have a £68 million release clause, but it doesn't become active until next year. And I can assure Haaland will leave Dortmund in the summer transfer window if Dortmund fail to qualify for the Champions League. He has been at Dortmund over the year. Dortmund paid just £17 million for him, and he's under contract with them until 2024. But if we got Haaland, it'd be a great signing. He's young, he's got a lot of development in him, and he would assure us goals. But yeah, like I say, this year's summer transfer window is huge for Man United and Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. I'm expecting Solskjaer to get the backing he deserves, because obviously we've got John Murtough, he's our director of football, and we've got Darren Fletcher, he's our technical director, and they both know the club through thick and thin. Solskjaer's already discussed our transfer plans with our recruitment team. And obviously Woodward, he believes that Solskjaer's the right man to lead the club forward. He released a statement earlier on this season saying that the progress by Solskjaer and the players this season is clear. So in that aspect, Woodward is backing him. And in general, Woodward's come out several times to show his support for Ole, even when we was enduring them really bad periods. You know, Solskjaer so far has not been backed enough. Main explanation is because he hasn't got all the players that he wanted to recommend in. He has made some good signings. He's spent almost 300 million so far, and he's enjoyed 4 transfer windows as permanent Man United manager. But yeah, I can assure that Solskjaer will be Man United manager in the summer transfer window, and he'll be Man United manager next season, because we have said that Solskjaer will not be sacked even if we fail to win the Europa League this season. The Europa League is our only chance of winning any silverware this season. If we don't win it this season, the Europa League, it'll be exactly 4 years without a trophy, because we haven't won a trophy since 2017. Solskjaer knows how imperative it is to get his first trophy on the board as Man United manager. I think Solskjaer does deserve another season, because progress has been made by Ole in certain aspects. And we know that he's getting a new 3-year contract worth 30 million. A lot of United fans will disagree with us giving him this new contract. I think he does deserve a new contract in some aspects he doesn't. Ole has 1 year left on his current 3-year contract. But I can assure Ole he's not the long-term manager for Manchester United. I can assure we're going to finish in the top 4 this season. We've got a very good chance of finishing second, but that's not good enough without a trophy. We are going to get rid of players in the summer transfer window. You obviously know the news on David De Gea. Now, David De Gea could leave in the summer transfer window, but he could also stay. There's 3 clubs that are chasing David De Gea. That's Real Madrid, Atletico Madrid and PSG. We've set the price for De Gea. It's 50 million. He says that De Gea has made his transfer decision and he's preparing to leave Man United, and we're set to pay off his huge contract. Solskjaer did recently say the battle between De Gea and Henderson is healthy. I reckon De Gea has now had his years at Manchester United. He's been at the club now, is it 10 years or almost 10 years? He's made over 500 appearances in all competitions, and he's been our number 1 for a while. I reckon De Gea's had around 8 good years out of the 10 years he's been here, because in the last couple of years he's been a liability because he has made mistakes. But De Gea has won everything domestically at the football club. He's got 2 years left on his current contract, and he's on 375 grand a week. That's a substantial amount. And I said there's a good chance that De Gea will go back to Spain. Romero, I'm expecting us to offload him because he's what our 3rd or 4th choice goalkeeper. A lot of his appearances have come in the cup competitions, Romero's. We got Romero on a free from San Pandora back in 2015. So he's been at the club around 6 years now. I'm surprised Romero didn't leave in the January transfer window. Phil Jones, I want him to go. Whether he does or not, I don't know. But Phil Jones has always been inconsistent. He's the only outfield player that's still here from the Ferguson era. And this is Phil Jones' 10th season at the club, so he's been a long-serving and he's been out of injury for over a year. Eric Bay, will he leave in the summer transfer window? Apparently we want 17 million to let Bay leave for Inter Milan. Bay's out at the moment due to COVID. He's actually lost his place in the team in general. Last time I read up, it said that contract talks were on hold for Eric Bay because he wants assurances over his playing time. Now, it said a few weeks ago that Bay apologised to Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and his Man United teammates for his disrespectful behaviour. Because he said Bay was furious with Ole because he felt disrespected and not wanted by him, and Bay says we're only offering him a new contract to simply increase his asking price. I like Bay to stay potentially past the summer because he's a good centre-half. My only element of concern about him is injury-prone, so in that aspect he's a liability. Axel Tuanzebe, could we offload him because he doesn't get in our 11? Paul Pogba, he could still leave the football club in the summer transfer window, but there again he could stay potentially past the summer. He's had a long-running transfer saga. He's been linked with a return to Juventus. Real Madrid have been in for him before, and PSG have been in for him. I said if he leaves Man United, there's a very good chance he will go back to Juventus because Paul Pogba endured 4 very good years with Juventus before he rejoined Manchester United. Juventus have been keen on a Paul Pogba swap deal. It recently said Juventus were willing to offer us Paulo Dybala in exchange for Pogba, and they was willing to offload Ramsey and Rabiot to get the money to afford Pogba. And Fabrizio Romano did say that Juventus are refusing to give up on re-signing Pogba. But recent narratives have said that Man United could offer Paul Pogba a new contract or listen to offers for him in the summer. Solskjaer did say that Paul Pogba's future lies at Manchester United. Ollie said earlier on this season he hopes Pogba stays and signs a new contract, and we have been in contract negotiations with the player. Earlier on this season we triggered that 1-year extension on his contract, so he's under contract on Man United until June 2022. Recent reports have said that Juventus have told Mino Raiola that they cannot afford Paul Pogba, so reflecting on that, he won't be making a return to Juventus. Damasio came out the other week and said that Pogba's got no intentions of extending his Man United contract, and he said Juventus is his preferred destination and he still wants to quit the club. We've been getting the best out of Pogba in recent months. Don't forget he was out with a thigh injury for a while. At the first part of this season he was out with an ankle injury, and he was out for the vast majority of last season with an ankle injury. I like Paul Pogba in more of an advanced role because that's where he's more effective. I'm not too keen on him in a deeper role. As it stands at the moment, he's our most expensive signing because we paid 89 million for him, and this is his 5th season at the football club since he rejoined. He's won 3 trophies at the club so far. That's the Europa League, the League Cup and the Community Shield. We had Pogba when he was a lot younger under Ferguson, but we had to let him go due to limited appearances. Nemanja Matic, good chance we're going to offload him because he's not one of our first choice midfielders. And I've always had my strong reservations about Matic because he's always been a slow player. And analysing the vast majority of his games at Man United, he hasn't been consistent enough. There's only been a few games where he showed consistency. I think the club made a mistake by giving him that new 3-year contract before the start of this season. We got Matic in a deal worth 40 million from Chelsea back in 2017, so he's been at the club now almost 4 years. I think we need to get rid of Donny van der Beek because he's not getting enough opportunities at Manchester United. That's the only reason I think we should offload him. If he was getting his opportunities, then I'd be saying totally different to you. Now, it says earlier on this season that we was considering a swap deal for Van der Beek, and 2O Sports said that we was willing to offer Donny van der Beek to Juventus in exchange for Rabiot. Ronald de Boer has backed Donny van der Beek to be a success at Man United, and he said he still feels loved at Man United despite his lack of game time. Now, earlier on this season, it said that Donny van der Beek wanted to quit Man United after 1 season due to his lack of game time, and he wanted to hold showdown talks with Ed Woodward over his future. But most of his appearances, Van der Beek's, have come from the bench. He's only started 2 games in the league this season, surprisingly. And ESPN said back in January that we rejected several loan offers for Van der Beek because we was reluctant to let him go. And even Solskjaer revealed earlier on this season that Van der Beek's unhappy because of his lack of game time. We got him in a deal worth 40 million from Ajax last summer. And he's versatile, he can play in 3 different roles. Juan Mata Good chance we're going to offload him because he doesn't get in our team. Juan Mata's current contract expires in June. We do have the option to trigger his contract for a further year. First part of this season, Mata rejected an 18 million a year contract offer to play in Saudi Arabia. He's done well in a lot of the games that he's been involved in. Mata's been a long servant. He's been at the club over 6 years. We got him in a deal worth £40 million from Chelsea back in 2014. And Edison Cavani, it looks like he's going to be leaving the club. I give you the news on him earlier on today. Marcus Rojo has had conversations with Edison Cavani over a move to Boca Juniors. Rojo has urged Edison Cavani to quit Man United for Boca Juniors. He's promised he will take him fishing. Footballer Insider recently said that Cavani is willing to take a pay cut to join Boca Juniors. Boca Juniors are preparing to offer him a 3-year contract, and he's already got a verbal agreement with Boca Juniors. Not so long ago, he said that Man United held showdown talks with Edison Cavani over his future at the club, and we want to convince him to stay, but looks like we're not going to be able to. Solskjaer did say earlier on this season he hopes Cavani will stay, and he revealed that we have been in contract negotiations with him. But he said prior to that Cavani's closer to Boca Juniors than staying at Man United. And his father said earlier on this season that Cavani's unhappy, he's not comfortable in England and he wants to leave. Yeah, Cavani's current contract expires at the end of the season, but there's an option to trigger his contract for a further year. Cavani's sustained a few injuries at Man United, but I think he has made an impact since he's come in. In a lot of the games he's played in, he's been consistent, but there's been a few games where he really hasn't got a lot of service and he has looked isolated. And a lot of United fans are saying that we need to offload Anthony Martial because he's been out of form for the vast majority of this season. But yeah, there's going to be players that will stay in the summer transfer window, and I think some players have got long-term futures at Man United. But Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, he's been Manchester United manager now over 2 years. You know, we appointed him in December 2018. He's been permanent Man United manager since 2019. Reflecting now on Ole's been at the club, he's gained some managerial experience, he's learnt quite a bit on the job and he's tried quite a few different elements. Ole knew when he'd taken over at Manchester United it was going to be a massive job, despite him knowing the club through thick and thin. I think he is in a position he shouldn't be really in. The main explanation he's still Manchester United manager is because he's a club legend. Disregarding being a club legend, I can almost assure he wouldn't have been Manchester United manager now. My two biggest concerns about Ole is that he hasn't got a proven pedigree as a manager, and my other big concern is his decision making. This is Ole's second full season at Manchester United. He does deserve credit in quite a few aspects. You know, he's made some good signings since he's come in. He's got rid of a lot of the deadwood since he's come in. You know, he did well last season in his first full season. He's done well in some aspects this season. I like the way he has promoted the youth. We've enjoyed good periods under him where we've seen consistency. You know, we've been very good away from home in the Premier League. We haven't lost away from home in the Premier League for over a year. So, there you go. So there's not all negativity regarding Solskjaer. But in the last 8 years, nothing has changed at Manchester United. It's just been an ongoing cycle of inconsistency. So if the club eventually decided to sack Solskjaer, it wouldn't really solve anything, would it? because not all of the blame stems from him when we are inconsistent. Obviously, some of the blame stems from him, and the United fans that are Ollie out have obviously got main explanations why they're Ollie out, but there's still some Man United fans that are Ollie in saying give him more time. But in the last 8 years, we sacked 3 managers. That was David Moyes, Louis van Gaal and Jose Mourinho, and we're not even really known as a sacking football club. Not only that, we've overpaid for players. We've spent over £1 billion in the last 8 years. Mistakes have been made in the last 8 years, and that's why we haven't been as consistent as we'd like to have been. I do think that the board's been one of the biggest issues at the club for a while, because the recruitment's been poor. And the managers that we've had since Ferguson retired haven't got the players that they wanted to recommend in. Woodward's been at the club since 2012 and the Glazers have been at the club since 2005. We haven't won the Premier League since 2013. That's 8 years ago now. But we're never going to be the team that was under Ferguson, and we've got to accept that. And a lot of United fans predicted it was all going to go downhill when Ferguson retired. Ferguson endured a 26-27 year tenure at the club. He won 30 odd trophies, so he brought success to the club, but he didn't settle in straight away because he didn't win out in his first 4 years at Man United. Not long now till we kick off against Granada. Like I said on my last video, my match reaction probably will be tomorrow, but if I've got time tonight, I will do it tonight. So anyway guys, that's everything to update for today. Drop your comments, likes below on the channel. If you do, consider subscribe as always, and take care. God bless you all again very, very soon.